Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So, how is everyone? Yes. 10 days after the prelims, you don't know how you are, right? You are eagerly waiting for the result. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. That is the basic idea that somehow the result comes so that you can put everything, every effort now in means एक थोड़ा सा एक जो nagging चीज है whether we are clearing or whether we are not clearing or something like that, that should not be there. We should go full-fledged, full throttle for means, right?
Yes, sir.
And that is justified. That makes sense. But so regardless of what will be whatever is your result in prelims, if the result is positive, you have to write mains this year. Mains in 85 days. If the result is not positive, you have to write mains in 85 days next year. Regardless of that, preparation begins now. So from today onwards, we are resuming philosophy. Now, some basic reaffirmations about philosophy, why philosophy optional is a good choice or why it is going to secure us that rank. First of all, ये जो 300 marks है, ये 300 marks लाना, it is one of the easiest optionals to get, plus the shortest optional to get. Why it is the easiest optional, why it is the shortest optional, let us reaffirm that and then start our discussion. Is my screen visible? Yes,
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 sir.
sir.
it is visible. Why it is an excellent choice as an optional? Number one, shortest syllabus. शॉर्टेस्ट का मतलब ये नहीं है कि सिलेबस जो है बाकियों से बिल्कुल ही कम है, सिलेबस बहुत कंसाइज है. सिलेबस के सोर्सेस कंसाइज है, प्लस देयर इज नो डायनामिज्म, देयर इज नो करंट अपडेट, और रादर द सिलेबस इज स्टैटिक. तो सिलेबस हमारा स्टैटिक है और सोर्सेज हमारे कंसाइज हैं, दैट इज व्हाई इट इज द शॉर्टेस्ट सिलेबस. हमको जो है इसमें बहुत ज्यादा मेहनत नहीं करनी है, कंटेंट वाइज एंड करंट वाइज. ओके, एंड if we talk about the sources, there are actually 4 books. If we talk about the first part, that is Western philosophy, there is a book called by Y. Massey. If we talk about Indian philosophy, many people refer 2 books for Indian philosophy. One is Datta and Chatterjee. A better book is Shri Sharma. For paper 2, socio-political philosophy, there is OP Guava. Fourth, there is philosophy of religion. There is a book by John Hick also, and then there is again book by Y. Massey. एक वेस्टर्न फिलोसफी का सब पार्ट है, दैट इज कंटेम्पररी वेस्टर्न फिलोसफी. No one source. For Indian philosophy, a good addition is DAMA IGNU notes, especially for chapters on Vedanta, chapter on Aurobindo. There is some extremely helpful value addition in the BAMA IGNU notes. Okay. Now the question is, should you buy these books? Okay. So my suggestion to you is just buy only one book. Buy this Western philosophy Y. Massey. Okay. Just read one chapter, which I'll be taking. And again, this thing still stands. Bring one unique, conceptual, linguistically beautiful, or linguistically superior line from this book, which is not in our notes. And take back your fee. If the institute does not refund, you come to me directly. I will. मोटे मोटे तौर पे सिर्फ आपको एक किताब इसलिए खरीदनी है, it reaffirms your faith in the class notes. Whatever is dictated in the class, whatever is the class notes, they are 110% better than any book that we have referred, and it is 200% better than any other material that other people are studying. So regarding source, our strategy is very simple. Class notes. But just so you have the faith, absolute faith in the class notes, buy one book. वाई मसी एक बार खरीद लीजिए. एक दो चैप्टर आपका जो भी मन करे, XYZ, प्लेटो मन करे, एरिस्टोटल मन करे, डेकार्ट मन करे, कांट मन करे, कोई एक चैप्टर पढ़िए अपनी श्रद्धा से. उस चैप्टर का हमारा नोट्स पढ़िए. And the above line follows. That means source wise we are not under any kind of confusion. So that is the second point on philosophy. Third point is, what can we use philosophy optional in other parts of our GS preparation? What is its contribution to GS? So does it have any overlap with ethics? Yes. Does philosophy have overlap with your ethics syllabus? Can you tell me any topics in the ethics syllabus? जल्दी जल्दी टॉपिक्स बताइए. Is there philosophical basis for governance, philosophical basis of probity, etc.? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Life lesson from thinkers, administrators, philosophers. Then there are various philosophical issues. For example, there is corruption. In ethics, there are various topics inadvertently out of philosophy. For example, gender issue, for example, gender, caste, crime and punishment. All this you will be studying in your optional, which has an overlap in ethics. Then there is ethical issues in IR again, which will have an overlap in your philosophy. You will be studying about the conception of state, individual and state relation. So there is overlap with ethics. There is overlap with general studies too. That is polity, governance, and IR. Why? There are topics like sovereignty. There are topics like empowerment of women, land, property, and other rights. There are topics like forms of government, and you have to study 3 forms of government: democracy, theocracy, and monarchy. The idols which are very relevant in your polity, you have to study here. That is liberty, equality, and justice. So forth, so on and so forth. There is overlap with GS2, with GS3. There is a topic in your syllabus, development and social progress. इसका कंटेंट आप GS3 में कहाँ लिखेंगे? Anybody?
Social justice.
In GS3, where is social justice? There is a topic, inclusive growth, right? Inclusive growth, sustainable development. Definitely, there is an overlap here. Then there is some kind of overlap also with your GS1. For example, there is a topic given, caste discrimination, Gandhi and Dr. Ambedkar. And where is caste found in your GS1 paper?
Indian society.
Yes, it is found in society part. Caste is definitely salient features of Indian society. Caste is one of the salient features of Indian society. There is also the topic with respect to women in general studies 1, which you will be studying in a lot of detail in empowerment of women, land, property, and other rights. You will be studying about female foeticide, etc., which will be useful at various places. More importantly, the most important contribution is in your essay paper. And the optional will be helpful in 2 ways. First, there is the cliche of philosophical essays. So you will be able to decode philosophical essays. Your perception of me is my awareness of you. इस तरह की चीजें लिखी हूँ. Happiness is a path, not an end. तो इस तरह की चीजें जो open ended philosophically worded essays हैं, you will be able to decode and you will be able to write better. Secondly, there is a direct essay from philosophy. एक डायरेक्ट essay मिलेगा. For example, real is rational, rational is real. A direct quote from Hegelian philosophy. You cannot take bath twice in the same river. From which philosophy? Yes. Shavya, this will be in which philosophy? You cannot take bath twice in the same river.
Greek philosophy.
Greek. Okay, there is definitely
Heraclitus.
Heraclitus. Yes, Heraclitus. But Heraclitus is not so much in our optional. Heraclitus and Parmenides, they two are synthesized in whose philosophy? Does anybody know?
Shastri.
Plato. Yes. Plato synthesizes the philosophy, the prevailing philosophies of Parmenides and Heraclitus. But very importantly, it is a very important part of a very prominent Indian school of philosophy. Can anybody tell me? Yes.
Buddhism.
Buddhism. Absolutely correct. Buddhist doctrine of Shanbhang.
Shanbhangurvad.
Yes. Shanbhangavad, or theory of
Momentariness.
momentariness. Ultimately, because you are from philosophy optional, आप इसको decode कैसे कर पाओगे? Change is the ultimate reality, or change is the ultimate truth. अब जब आपको ये पता चल गया कि आपको चेंज के बारे में लिखना है, आप इसको पॉलिटी, ज्योग्राफी, इकोनॉमी, इन्वायरमेंट, हिस्ट्री, ज्योग्राफी सब में लगा देंगे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, लेट अस अप्लाई दिस. जैसे आपको पता चल गया कि चेंज इज द अल्टीमेट रियलिटी, देयर इज नथिंग up like a permanent truth. Truth is always changing. So can we trace change in the political institutions? Yes. Can we trace the change in political institutions? अगर हम लास्ट 1000 साल की भी या 2000 साल की भी बात करें, so we started with monarchy. Mono plus archy. That is, mono means one and archy means rule. Rule of one. राजा का बेटा ही राजा बनता था. There is one king and then rest of them are the subjects. There was some kind of movement. Monarchy got transitioned into, yes, feudalism. Instead of one king, there were many feudal lords and all of them reported ultimately to one king. And the largest feudal lord became the church. So there was a conflict between religion and state. Religion became state. Church became the largest feudal lord. And this would pave way for what kind of rule? Theocracy. Theos means God. Cracy means rule. So rule by God or rule in the name of God. There will be still movement. There will be enlightenment in Europe. There will be socio-religious reform movement in India. जैसे आप देखेंगे महाजनपदास जब आएंगे, there will be a socio-religious reform movement. State और religion को अलग किया जाएगा. Kautilya will come up with Arthashastra instead of Dharmashastra. There will be religious reforms. Buddhism and Jainism will be born. And this will pave way for India's first empire. Okay, so the concept of empire will be coming in India in the Mauryan period. In medieval Europe, there will come the concept of nation state. Secularism will be born, and with it, the doctrine of democracy, where there is demos plus cracy means cratia or rule. So there is rule of people. This will be born out of not theocracy, secularism, separation of religion and state. So this is the change that is happening आप इसमें और आगे एक्सटेंड कर देंगे, डेमोक्रेसी जो है इनडायरेक्ट से डायरेक्ट हो रही है भारत में। इनडायरेक्ट से डायरेक्ट कैसे हो रही है? कैन एनीबॉडी टेल मी हाउ डेमोक्रेसी इन इंडिया after the 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act became indirect to direct? Yes.
It reached grassroots level.
Yes, grassroots or direct democracy. There is coming up of Panchayati Raj and Panchayati Raj institutions and municipalities. तो आपको जब ये समझ आ गया कि चेंज इज द अल्टीमेट रियलिटी, आप पॉलिटिक्स में इसी चेंज की बात करेंगे। इकोनॉमी में जब आप बात करना चालू करेंगे तो यू विल बी टॉकिंग अबाउट द conflict between capitalism, conflict between socialism/communism. You will talk about India's history from planned economy. We went to LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization. That is the change that is happening in Indian economy, Indian society. Mein, then you will be talking about the various changes throughout history. So ये जो idea है कि you cannot take bath twice in the same river is about theory of momentariness or change is the ultimate reality. You will be able to decode faster, you will have better content, and with your GS knowledge, you will be able to write a much better essay. Okay. So therefore, the most important contribution of philosophy optional will be in securing that higher 135 plus range marks in essay. You can easily write, and a student of philosophy optional should get in the higher ranges of 135. I claim that you should be getting 157 plus. Okay, so the idea basically is that ethics and optional are they have a direct umbilical cord to your philosophy optional paper. Now, fourth, a comparison. Now, suppose 10,000 people are writing mains this year. Number will be slightly 10,000 or 12,000. Out of this, around 3,000 people are writing, let us say, from PSIR. Next, 2,000 people are writing from, let us say, sociology. Next, 2,000 people are, let us say, writing from anthropology, etc. Philosophy, the number has dwindled. Number has dwindled in the hundreds. 500, 700 people are writing. Of this, 80% of the people are writing a content which is average. Here, 80% of the people are writing content which is average. यहां तक तो PSIR में भी सेम कहानी है, फिलोसफी ऑप्शनल में भी सेम कहानी है. Average content, average marks. But 20% people are writing good content. 20% of 3,000 is, yes, 600 candidates, right? Yes or no? $600 candidates are writing from the best notes that are available in the market, etc. Here, 20% of, let us say, 500 is 100 candidates are writing. Therefore, you have better chances of getting a higher score. Because there is a asymmetry in the good answer and average answer. In philosophy, it is much higher compared to other options. वहां पर क्या है, 600-800 बच्चे अच्छा आंसर लिख रहे हैं, यहाँ पर क्या है, 60, 80, 100 students are writing, and therefore there will be a huge difference. Some people will be getting here 320, 327, etc. That is a much easier or feasible possibility in philosophy optional than compared to the other optionals. Okay, so the ROI is definitely much higher the source is concise, syllabus is short, we have to do everything which is in the notes, and finally the last point, that is answer writing. In answer writing, we are not doing any kind of test series simply for the sake that this is writing of tests. What we are doing is writing the PYQs. Previous year questions we are writing live, plus getting it evaluated live, plus I am writing the model answer live. This is the trioca of perfection in answer writing. That is, you write the answer, you get it evaluated, you get the model answer, and this model answer is basically your notes for revision. And there is very high probability of repetition. 70 to 80, dare I say even higher, if you are able to do it properly with me, it is even 90% the questions are repeated. So हमारे को हमारे notes में भी problem नहीं है, PYQ writing में भी problem नहीं है, we are simply going to write the previous year questions that have come, and those are the questions that are going to come next year. That means in your mains 2025 and in your mains 2026. So therefore, from the perspective of optionals, you are not under burden. Okay, simply nothing else. The PYQs that we are writing in the NEEB class, that much is also good enough. And just to demonstrate and also start with our first topic, because we will be starting simultaneously with your Western philosophy in your paper 1, plus we are starting with socio-political philosophy in your paper 2. So Western philosophy का पहला जो टॉपिक है, that is Plato. So प्लेटो में आपको आज दिखाएंगे कि एक ही तरह के सवाल कैसे रिपीट हुए हैं, प्लेटो के सिलेबस में क्या है, प्लस वी विल गो थ्रू अ ब्रीफ ऑफ द इंटायर वेस्टर्न फिलोसफी सिलेबस, क्योंकि अगले हम 3-4 क्लासेस में 30 मिनट्स स्पेंड करेंगे इन बीइंग वेरी वेरी फेमिलियर विथ ऑल द पार्ट्स ऑफ आवर सिलेबस. तो अभी हम प्लेटो का सिलेबस देखेंगे, प्लेटो के प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस लास्ट 30 सालों के, एंड देन वी विल स्टार्ट स्टडीइंग विथ प्लेटो. Is this visible? History and problems of philosophy.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So एक तरफ लिखा है history, एक तरफ लिखा है problems of philosophy. Can you tell me why the syllabus is worded like this? Why the word history is used and why the word problems of philosophy is used? Anybody? क्योंकि आपके सिलेबस में ऐसा लिखा है, हिस्ट्री एंड प्रॉब्लम्स ऑफ फिलोसफी. यस गौरी. ये बताइए, हिस्ट्री इज व्हाट इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट कैरेक्टरिस्टिक ऑफ हिस्ट्री? Is history random or in a chronological order?
It's been in a
Yes.
chronological order.
Chronological order. बाबर के बाद कौन आया? हुमायूं. हुमायूं के बाद कौन आया? अकबर. अकबर के बाद कौन आया? जहांगीर. जहांगीर के बाद कौन आया? शाहजहां. शाहजहां के बाद कौन आया? यस.
औरंगजेब.
औरंगजेब. करेक्ट. औरंगजेब के बाद कौन आया? यस.
बहादुर शाह वानी।
बहादुर शाह जफर, यस। उनके बाद कौन है? यहाँ की बात
फर्रुख
थोड़ी देर।
सियार।
फारूक सियार, यस। फारूक सियार वाज मेड द एम्परर बाय two brothers who were called the kingmakers, that is the सैयद ब्रदर्स। सैयद्स वर इंडियन मुस्लिम्स। इससे पहले जो नोबिलिटी हुआ करती थी वो टर्किश थी, अफगान थी। सैयद ब्रदर्स वर इंडियन मुस्लिम्स। सो फरूक शियार वेलकम। फरूक शियार ही जो है मैग्ना कार्टा ऑफ ब्रिटिश ट्रेड देते हैं। इनको इनको बीमारी हो जाती है, अंग्रेजों का एक डॉक्टर हमको ठीक कर देता है, तो ये उसको दस्तक या फ्री ट्रेड दे देते हैं। तो हिस्ट्री जो है एक क्रोनोलॉजी में लिखी गई है। यानी प्लेटो प्लेटो का चेला एरिस्टोटल, इनफैक्ट एरिस्टोटल स्टडीड इन द इंस्टीट्यूशन ऑफ प्लेटो। प्लेटो के इंस्टीट्यूशन का नाम क्या था? यस,
एकेडमिया।
एकेडमी। That is how we also named. In fact, we started with the name for philosophy as Plato's Academy, but then we thought later it will have a problem. Plus, it was not a formal structure back then, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. So we changed to IAS Academia. So the K is basically because of the Greek origin of the name. प्लेटो established his institution Academia, जिसमें 20 साल एरिस्टोटल पढ़े, उसके बाद बाहर आके प्लेटो को खूब धोया उन्होंने. He went on to criticize the philosophy of his master, but Plato had Aristotle had utmost respect for Plato. एरिस्टोटल की एक बहुत अच्छी कोट है जिसको एथिक्स की क्लास में भी लिखवाते हैं या यहाँ पर भी अभी डिस्कस करेंगे इन दी कमिंग क्लासेस. एरिस्टोटल सेज Plato is dead but the truth must live. So that is the hallmark of great people. That is how they value truth much more than their respect for their master, respect for their teacher, etc. Okay, so Aristotle said, I am definitely a follower of Plato, I am his student, etc. But truth is more dearer to me than Plato. That is again one of his statements. Truth is more dearer to me than Plato. So Plato के बाद उनके शिष्य आएंगे Aristotle, he will be giving the philosophy. Then there will be a certain break, and after a few hundred years, there will be the first school of rationalism in Descartes, Spinoza, Leibniz, followed by Empiricism, Locke, Berkeley, Hume, Kant, Hegel. And then we will be coming at the sixth topic, which is your contemporary Western philosophy, which is philosophy of your 19th and 20th century. So therefore, definitely there is a chronology. इसीलिए क्या लिखा हुआ है? History of philosophy. But why problems of philosophy is written? Can anybody tell me? ऐसा क्यों लिखा है प्रॉब्लम्स ऑफ फिलोसफी? इंडिया में देखिए ये नहीं लिखा हुआ है. दिस इज नॉट रिटन फॉर इंडियन केस. सो व्हाई प्रॉब्लम्स ऑफ फिलोसफी आर रिटन? एनीबॉडी? यस.
Due to presence of contemporary Western philosophy.
Due to presence of contemporary Western philosophy. Okay. See, Aristotle will come because there is a problem in the philosophy of Plato. Platonian philosophy, while it gave some solutions, it created some new problems. Rationalism school will come because the philosophy of Plato and Aristotle could not answer all the questions that were raised in philosophy. In fact, Descartes जो है philosophy में certainty के लिए ही आएंगे. Descartes was a mathematician, but he wanted to bring the certitude of mathematics in the field of philosophy. ओके. डेकार्ट आप पढ़ते होंगे, डेकार्ट को मैथमेटिक्स में कार्टेशियन मेथड. सो वो चाहते थे कि जैसे जैसे मैथ में ऐसी चीजें हैं जिसको डिनाई नहीं किया जा सकता है, which Descartes called as self evident axioms. ऐसी चीजें मैं फिलोसफी में भी लेके आऊं. दैट इज व्हाट वाज हिज वेंचर फॉर कमिंग इनटू फिलोसफी. अब ये कुछ सॉल्यूशन देंगे, लेकिन इनकी फिलोसफी में कुछ प्रॉब्लम आएगी, तो स्पिनोजा विल बी देयर फॉर कमिंग अप विथ एन आइडिया, बिकॉज डेकार्ट्स फिलोसफी विल एंड इन कार्टेशियन डुअलिज्म, and dualism will give the problem of which reality is higher. क्योंकि dualism means there are two dual ultimate realities. There is mind, there is matter. अब ये पूछना पड़ेगा कि माइंड पहले आया, माइंड और मैटर की जगह माइंड और बॉडी भी लिख सकते हैं, माइंड की जगह सोल भी लिख सकते हैं. बोथ आर फाइन. सो देयर इज सोल and matter, and mind and body both are same things. So whether the mind controls the body or the body controls the mind, इसका आप आंसर बताइए. Does the mind control the body or the body controls the mind? Yes. Shavya, does mind control the body or does the body control the mind?
So this is the problem they are talking about, the syllabus is talking about.
Okay. See, we can, in some sense, the mind controls the body, in some sense, the body controls the mind. Right? For example, the science tells us that there is hypothalamus gland, there is pituitary gland, etc. You know the various functions of the mind in controlling the various organs, right? For example, if there is some disconnection between your mind and body, your body goes into paralysis. You cannot move your hand. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But somebody who is brain dead, somebody whose brain is not functioning, are they still breathing? Are their organs still functioning? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you must have seen that movie. कौन सा है वो? MBBS क्या नाम हो? संजय दत्त मूवी, मुन्ना भाई MBBS, right? So there is some bhai there, no? Hiren bhai or something like that, who is brain dead. Yes.
Anand Banerjee.
Who? Sorry.
Anand Banerjee, sir.
Okay, Anand Banerjee. So despite his brain not operational, the body is still functioning. That means the body is independent of the mind. So ये सवाल ये लोग आंसर नहीं कर पाए. They cannot reconcile whether mind came first, whether matter came first, which is the highest reality. Is mind made out of matter? जैसे मॉडर्न साइंस क्या कहता है, आपका ब्रेन जो है वो भी मैटर से बना है, एटम से बना हो. So therefore the philosophy of Descartes ended in dualism, which Spinoza had to answer. Spinoza gave an answer, but his philosophy will end in absolutism or absolute determinism. स्पिनोजा के लिए एक हम लाइन पढ़ेंगे कि स्पिनोजा की फिलॉसफी एक ऐसी केव की तरह है, वेयर यू फाइंड फुटप्रिंट्स गोइंग इनसाइड बट नन कमिंग आउटसाइड. और इन स्पिनोजा's philosophy the night is very dark. That means in his philosophy everything is deterministic. अगर आपसे ये पूछा जाए कि you know everything what is going to happen in your life in the next second, will you be able to do anything? Yes. For that matter,
No, sir.
even your worship of God, does it not have an element of doubt, and therefore you have belief, trust, etc.? अगर भगवान आपके सामने साक्षात आके खड़े हो गए, will prayers, rituals, etc. have any meaning? Yes, बताइए.
No, sir.
No. So there is assumption of belief, faith. There is assumption that not everything is determined. Therefore, Spinoza's philosophy led to this problem, which Leibniz will be answering in his monadology. Spinoza's philosophy will not be able to explain change happening in the world. We will see Leibniz equally fails and creates new problems, which entire rationalism philosophy will be able to answer, or the problems of rationalism philosophy will be able to answer in the philosophy of empiricism. तो रैशनलिज्म एज अ स्कूल और इम्प्रिसिज्म एज अ स्कूल, ये जो डिवाइडेड है, इट इज ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ सोर्स ऑफ वैलिड नॉलेज. फिलोसफी में ये हमारे लिए जानना जरूरी बहुत है कि नॉलेज क्या है, ये नहीं, नॉलेज का सोर्स भी क्या होना चाहिए. व्हाट आर द सोर्सेज ऑफ वैलिड नॉलेज. In fact, we will be studying two branches of philosophy. That is, one is metaphysics. What is metaphysics? Who will tell me?
The study of soul, world, or God.
Study of soul, world, God. Okay. What is physics? Physics क्या होता है?
Study of matter.
Study of
Study
nature
of
and natural
matter.
phenomena.
Physics is study of space and time. यही दो एलिमेंट तो है फिजिक्स में आपके पास. यस. मैं और आप अभी बात कर रहे हैं, हम दोनों के लिए कौन सी दो रियलिटीज हैं जिसको हम झुटला नहीं सकते. टुडे आई एम सिटिंग इन अ पर्टिकुलर स्पेस एट अ पर्टिकुलर टाइम. यस और नो?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
So
sir.
physics is the study of space and time. Metaphysics is beyond space and time. There are certain realities which are existing beyond space and time. Gandhiji is physics. Gandhism is metaphysics. Matter is physics. God is metaphysics. There are certain realities, God, soul, world, which are beyond the limitations of space and time. That is why criticize Gandhiji. He is definitely, it is definitely justified to criticize all elements of Gandhiji's life. But गांधीज्म गोज ऑन फॉर एवर. हम इसी बात में कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं. कम पढ़े लिखे लोग आपस में लड़ने लगते हैं. इवन दे वुड क्रिटिसाइज दोज हु आर क्रिटिसाइजिंग गांधीजी. गांधीजी वाज अ मॉर्टल. नो मॉर्टल कैन बी बियॉन्ड क्रिटिसिज्म. इनफॉलेबल कोई भी नहीं. गांधीज्म के बारे में डेफिनेटली आप सवाल रेज कर सकते हैं अगर कोई गांधीज्म को क्रिटिसाइज कर रहा है. अहिंसा, सत्याग्रह, दीज आर philosophies which are beyond space and time. जितना वैलिड वो उस समय था उतना ही वैलिड आज भी है. So metaphysics is the study of reality which is beyond space and time. Okay, and every philosopher would want to know reality which is beyond space and time. The other part is epistemology, which is logical study of episteme. Episteme means, this is the beauty of philosophy optional. फिलोसफी ऑप्शनल आपको नॉलेज ही सिर्फ नहीं देता है, नॉलेज क्या है सबसे पहले आपको ये बताता है. सो व्हाट इज नॉलेज? व्हाट इज द राइट सोर्स, और व्हाट इज द करेक्ट सोर्स ऑफ नॉलेज? फॉर एग्जाम्पल, वुड वी बिलीव a lot said about India's Indian story from The Wire? द वायर जो भी प्रकाशित करेंगे, वुड वी कंसिडर इट एज द राइट सोर्स ऑफ नॉलेज? यस, नो, वी नो दे हैव अ प्रोपेगेंडा, दे हैव अ बायस. इनफैक्ट ये जो न्यूज लॉन्ड्री, वायर, इन लोगों का पता है कि दे हैड गॉट मनी फ्रॉम a Chinese agent. He funded them also. He funded people in Sri Lanka also. He was caught in US. So Wire, Hindu, Indian Express, Arnab Goswami, they are all opinions. They are not knowledge. So right source of knowledge, philosophy किसको कहता है? Perception. हिंदी में इसको कहते हैं प्रमाण. एक कहावत है ना, हाथ कंगन को आरसी किया, पढ़े लिखे को फारसी किया, या प्रत्यक्षम किम प्रमाणम. जो चीज प्रत्यक्ष में है उसको प्रमाण की क्या आवश्यकता है? What you see from your 5 sense organs, would it require any more proof? Yes. अगर आपको आंखों के सामने से कुछ दिख रहा है, would it require proof, कंचन?
No, sir.
No. बट मान लीजिए कि आपका दोस्त जो है एक लड़की के साथ, और योर ब्रदर, फॉर दैट मैटर, योर ब्रदर इज ईटिंग एन आइसक्रीम विद अ गर्ल. There is a girl standing
Yes.
next to him. She is also eating ice cream. Now, would perception be giving you all the information?
No.
Not necessarily. Yes. या फिर मान लीजिए कि अभिषेक जो है, he is standing at one of the shores of the ocean and seeing a ship which is on the shore, and there is a ship which is in the water. अभिषेक को ये शिप जो है बहुत बड़ा दिखता है, सो ह्यूज, टाइटैनिक, और ये शिप बहुत ही छोटा दिखता है, स्मॉल. Later he finds out that it was the same ship which had gone here. So his perception deceived him. This perception gave him different knowledge. तो philosophy जो इसकी भी बात करेगा कि what is the validity of knowledge? It gives you an opportunity to talk about error. And these things are happening because there is a relation between knower and knowable. Relation between knower and knowable. जिसको और कुछ भी नहीं पता है एंड सिर्फ उसको रब ने बना दी, जोड़ी दिखा दी जाएगी, तो दे विल फाइंड शाहरुख खान एंड अनुष्का, क्या नाम है अनुष्का पूरा उनका, जो अनुष्का एज अ कपल और पेयर. बट वेयर इज व्हाट इज द रियल रियलिटी? अनुष्का एंड विराट कोहली आर एक्चुअली रियल लाइफ कपल. व्हाई? रिलेशन बिटवीन नोअर एंड नेबल. सिनेमा में you are the knower and something is being sent to you. That reality will change according to you. That reality will be subjective, not objective. So the reality of this world is subjective in nature. It varies from knower to knower. It can be realism, it can be idealism on this basis. अब उस मूवी में तो आपने शाहरुख खान को हटा के अपने आप को डाल दिया है. And you started singing, तुझ में रब दिखता है. Idealism. There is no difference between knower and knowable. Whereas the knowable, that is the object, exists independently of knower. इसमें तो You are Shah Rukh Khan. Here, you are Ranjana. You have seen that dialogue, no, from Ranjana movie. Katrina Kaif does not know you, but you also don't know Katrina Kaif. There is an objective reality. But if the knowledge of an object is dependent on the knower, it is called idealism. If the knowledge of an object is independent of the knower, that is realism. So all this thing we have to study in epistemology. There are 5 sources of knowledge important which we have to study in Indian school. Western school is just talking about 2 sources. अगर हम यहाँ पर Indian और Western की बात करें, although next जो हमारी क्लास है उसमें हम we are going to compare Indian philosophy and Western philosophy in epistemology and Indian philosophy and Western philosophy in metaphysics. So Indian and Western की अगर हम बात करें from the perspective of sources of knowledge, so Western philosophy में सिर्फ 2 ही sources हैं. One is perception. This is called the empiricist school. Empiricism or empirical evidence is the right source of knowledge. For example, the source of mathematics, the source of science, etc. Second, rationalism. That is, reason is the source of valid knowledge. For example, 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. ये सिर्फ आप रीजन से, इसमें आपको परसेप्शन की कोई आवश्यकता नहीं है. You do not require perception. Will this reality change for you, Kanchan, and for you, Dipesh? 2 plus 2 is equal to 4?
No, sir.
Awesome.
No. This reality is going to remain the same. But is it giving you any new information which you did not know previously?
No, sir.
No. It is giving you certain knowledge, but it is not giving you new knowledge. Certain knowledge तो है, my mistake. But not new knowledge. It has no bearing on the state of affairs. 2 plus 2 is equal to 4 से आपके जीवन में कुछ नहीं होने वाला. So rationalism is relying on reason as a source of valid knowledge. इसी पर 2 schools हैं. पर rationalism के पे you can call inference as a valid source of command. Indian philosophy goes beyond this. After perception and inference, this third source of knowledge is, yes, verbal testimony. Verbal testimony और शब्द प्रमाण. आप सब इस क्लास में क्यों बैठे हैं? Because you believe that the philosophy that I will teach is better than what you already know or better than what you may get from the books, right? Or whatever I am teaching, you are accepting it as truth because you consider me as the authority on the subject, for right or wrong, which we can discuss later. But for right now, that is the state of reality. Yes?
Yes, sir.
And therefore, if you see religions of the world, for example, if you consider some Islam as a religion, so for them, Quran is the word of God, and therefore there can be nothing, no comma, no full stop, etc. Any kind of deviation from the Quran, any kind of any kind of challenge to the Quran is considered blasphemous. It is considered to be a crime according to them. In India, there is Vedas. So Vedas are considered to be the words of God, but because Indian culture has always been open to change. There is always liberalism in that sense. So some schools of Indian philosophy will consider Vedas to be fallible. Some will be considering it to be infallible. For example, Buddhism will not believe Vedas to be the source of valid knowledge. इसलिए बुद्धिज्म जो है शब्द प्रमाण को नहीं मानेगा. लेकिन हम बुद्धिज्म से घूम के ये भी तो पूछ सकते हैं कि अगर शब्द प्रमाण सही नहीं है तो क्या बुद्धा की कही भी बात सही होगी? यस. Can we raise this question? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. The
Yes.
fourth source of knowledge is comparison और उपमान. Which circle is the biggest? Yes.
The middle one.
Middle one. How you know? Because you compared with this, you compared with this. So this knowledge that you arrived that the middle one is the biggest circle. Let us call it B. A, C. B is the biggest circle. This knowledge you arrived by comparison. So comparison is also a valid source of knowledge in Indian philosophy. अब ये जैसे जैसे बढ़ते जाएगा, the source of knowledge will be of a higher reality. Next, अर्थापत्ति और implication. अर्थापत्ति एज अ वैलिड सोर्स ऑफ नॉलेज. मान लीजिए कि दीपेश डज नॉट ईट इन द डे. दीपेश रहने देते, जो एग्जाम्पल उन्होंने दिया है वही कोट कर देते. देवदत्त. Devdutt does not eat in the day. Second, Devdutt is fat. Now there are two inconsistent perceived facts. दो फैक्ट्स आपको दिख रहे हैं कि ये दिन में तो खाना खाता नहीं है लेकिन ये मोटा है. सो व्हाट कैन यू अज्यूम? यस.
सर वो रात में खाता है.
Yes, the assumption is Devdutt eats in the this assumption or arthapatti, inconsistent perceived facts, is arthapatti, which is the next source of valid knowledge. Next, anupalabdhi. Anupalabdhi. और नॉलेज ऑफ नॉन एग्जिस्टेंस. देखिए ये ब्यूटी है इंडियन फिलोसफी की. वेस्टर्न फिलोसफी सोच ही नहीं पाई इन्फ्रेंस के बियॉन्ड. हम तो ये भी सोच रहे हैं कि जो चीज एग्जिस्ट कर रही है उसका कैसे नॉलेज मिलेगा, जो चीज नहीं एग्जिस्ट कर रही है उसका कैसे नॉलेज मिलेगा. ये मैंने लाइन लिखी है, नॉलेज ऑफ नॉन एग्जिस्टेंस. आपको इसका नॉलेज कैसे मिल रहा है विकास?
ना
भाई प्रमाण. यस, परसेप्शन. ये लाइन मैंने मिटा दी. अब कैसे मिल रहा है आपको?
बाय परसेप्शन.
सॉरी,
बाय परसेप्शन सर. दिख रहा है कि नहीं है?
बाह्य प्रत्यक्षम. बाह्य मीन्स
परसेप्शन.
प्रत्यक्ष से आपको कोई नॉन एग्जिस्टेंट चीज कभी दिख पाएगी? प्रत्यक्ष में एक बहुत जरूरी कंपोनेंट है सेंस ऑर्गन ऑब्जेक्ट कांटेक्ट. आर यू इन कांटेक्ट विद द ऑब्जेक्ट थ्रू योर सेंस ऑर्गन? नॉन एग्जिस्टेंट चीजों से अगर कांटेक्ट होने लगेगा तो आपके ऊपर स्त्री 3 मूवी बन जाएगी, है ना विकास? प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी हमको अगर आपको वैसी चीजें दिखने लग गई जो है नहीं.
Yes, sir.
If you are in contact with things non-existing, there will be a big problem, right? It will be equivalent to your injury.
Yes, sir.
So Indian philosophy also gives you the scope of knowledge about non-existent things. It is the source of knowledge is called anupalabdhi. So we have knowledge of apprehension, we have knowledge of non-apprehension also, and we have a source. So we will see in Mimamsa philosophy how Kumaril defends Anupalabdhi as a valid source of knowledge. इसको Kumaril defend करेंगे. Vedanta will also accept, but Kumari will defend Anupalabdhi as a valid or separate source of knowledge. बाकी सब लोग यही कहेंगे कि भाई अभी हमको दिख नहीं रहा है आंख से, तो हम इन्फर कर लेंगे कि वो एग्जिस्ट नहीं कर रहा है. So they will be either calling it perception or calling it inference. So rest of the schools will be inferring knowledge of non-existent things through perception or inference. But Kumaril, a Mimamsa philosopher, will be talking about a separate praman to know non-existent things. ठीक है, तो यहां तक हमने बात कर ली. 2 branches, metaphysics and epistemology. What is knowledge, right source of knowledge. हमने एक right source of knowledge के बारे में सारी बातें कर ली. इसके बाद भी हम वैलिडिटी चेक करेंगे, परसेप्शन की भी वैलिडिटी चेक करेंगे, इन्फ्रेंस की भी वैलिडिटी चेक करेंगे, वर्बल टेस्टिमनी की भी वैलिडिटी चेक करेंगे, सबकी चेक करेंगे. आदि शंकराचार्य तो सबकी वैलिडिटी चेक करके कहेंगे नन ऑफ देम कैन नो ब्रह्मन. And then we will talk about error of all sources of knowledge. वेस्टर्न फिलोसफी में 2 ही थ्योरी ऑफ एरर्स है, थ्योरी ऑफ कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस एंड थ्योरी ऑफ कोहेरेंस. इंडियन फिलोसफी में सबके अपने अपने थ्योरीज हैं एरर के. जैसे मैं आपसे बात करूं, अगर न्याय स्कूल, व्हाट इज द न्याय थ्योरी ऑफ एरर? कैन एनीबॉडी टेल मी? यस, अन्यथा ख्यातिवाद. The reality is present elsewhere and is presented to us elsewise. If we talk about Vedanta, what is the theory of error? Advait. I am not talking of Ramanuj. So Adi Shankaracharya will talk about anirvachaniya khyativad. Buddhism will talk about asad khyativad. So everyone will be giving their theory of error. They will be giving the relation between knower and knowable in our branch of study of epistemology. So metaphysics we will be studying. Metaphysics will be dominating in certain philosophies. Epistemology will be dominating in certain philosophies. Indian philosophy, metaphysics will be used to explain epistemology. Epistemology will be used to explain metaphysics. इंडियन फिलोसफी में हमेशा एक कॉम्प्लीमेंटेरीनेस होगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर एग्जाम्पल के लिए इस बात को मेरी आप समझना चाहें, तो जैना फिलोसफी मेटाफिजिक्स में देता है थ्योरी ऑफ मेनीनेस ऑफ रियलिटी कॉल्ड यस अनेकांतवाद. वी विल स्टडी इन जैना फिलोसफी. यस, अनेकांतवाद. So in their metaphysics they are giving अनेकांतवाद. When they apply it in epistemology, it becomes Shyadvad and Saptabhangi. न्याय. If reality is many, will our knowledge be probable? Syadvad is theory of probabilistic theory of knowledge. So in epistemology they will be giving Syadvad, relative theory of knowledge. For example, time, speed and distance, it is relative. तो मेटाफिजिक्स में चालू करेंगे अनेकांतवाद, रियलिटी इज मेनी and they will use this in their epistemology, in their theory of Syadvad. Okay, so this is the basic introduction for philosophy. We'll come to Plato now because we have to start with Western philosophy. और आज का हमारा काम यह है कि प्लेटो से आए हर सवाल हम देख लें, so that when we start Plato in our next class, you have an idea कि प्लेटो में ये 5 या 4 बातों का ही हमको ध्यान रखना है. Okay, so let us see प्लेटोस फिलोसफी. क्योंकि प्लेटो और एरिस्टोटल के बारे में देखिए क्या लिखा हुआ है आपके सिलेबस में. प्लेटो और एरिस्टोटल के लिए देयर इज आइडियाज, देयर इज सब्सटेंस, there is form and matter, there is causation, actuality and potentiality. So Plato के context में we have to study about ideas, we have to study about substance. Rest of these topics are from Aristotle. Okay, so ideas और substance के बारे में Plato भी ज्ञान देंगे, Aristotle भी ज्ञान देंगे. Aristotle will go on to improve the conception of substance or the ideas of Plato. So let us see कि आइडियाज, सब्सटेंस, फॉर्म एंड मैटर, क्या इन्हीं बातों पे प्लेटो के ने पे सवाल पूछा गया है इन द लास्ट 20-30 years. There is a red chair. How would Plato explain this statement with his theory of forms? So question is on theory of forms. Forms का मतलब होता है ideas. So there is a question on theory of ideas. What does Plato want to prove by his allegory of cave? So Plato wants to differentiate between the world of ideas and its copy, that is our world. He wants to differentiate between knowledge and opinion. Plato wants to differentiate what is knowledge and what is opinion. So प्लेटो में इनका एक तरह से मान लीजिए theory of knowledge. In what sense ideas can be both immanent and transcendent? Discuss in this context Plato's theory of universals and particulars. Again, theory of ideas. Does Plato's theory of form explain change and sensibility of matter? Give reasons for answer. यानी जब प्लेटो आइडिया के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं तो मैटर को कैसे एक्सप्लेन करेंगे? ये इसी को एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर पाएंगे, तभी तो एरिस्टोटल की फिलोसफी का जन्म होगा. Because Aristotle will be coming with the idea of formed matter. प्लेटो की फिलोसफी में ideas are the only reality. There is no space for matter. So which Aristotle will be bringing in his conception of substance as formed matter. Explain Plato's theory of form. Again, theory of form पे सवाल है. Theory of form कह लीजिए, theory of idea कह लीजिए. Distinguish between knowledge and belief according to Plato, how it is based on his metaphysics. So we have seen allegory of cave, how it is based on his metaphysics. In his theory of ideas, only you can have knowledge of ideas. Explain Plato's ontological theory of forms. Again, theory of form is repeated. How does Plato relate the world of ideas to the empirical world? This question and this question are same. How does Plato explain change? When you explain the change, you will be able to explain the world. And he will not be able to explain in a logical sense. प्लेटो की खास बात ये रहती है कि खुद प्लेटो जो है, he is able to foresee the problems in his philosophy. He is able to, वो अपनी philosophy को खुद criticize करते हैं. He writes something in the form of a conversation. Okay, Plato's analogy of the cave, repeated question 2021. Plato's recollection theory of knowledge, distinguish between opinion and knowledge. Plato's theory of form, Plato's theory of ideas. So 20-25 सालों में theory of forms के अलावा कोई भी सवाल नहीं आया है. अगर हम क्वेश्चन देखें तो it is Plato's theory of ideas. How does Plato explain the world or explain change, whether he is successful or not successful? And एरिस्टोटल्स इम्प्रूवमेंट। प्लेटो की फिलोसफी में इसके बियॉन्ड आज तक कोई सवाल ही नहीं है। एंड इफ वी सी आवर नोट्स which we will be starting from in our next class, सो पहला ही टॉपिक क्या है? नॉलेज इज नॉट परसेप्शन, नॉलेज इज नॉट ओपिनियन। देन आइडियल थ्योरी ऑफ प्लेटो, द मिथ concerning ideas, what is the characteristic of ideas, comments and objections, Plato's explanation of the world, significance of Plato, epistemology of Plato. If we see just some of the contents, so this is the question that is asked. Knowledge is not opinion. This is a question that has been asked. What is his theory of ideas? Repeated multiple times, theory of idea या theory of forms. Then the allegory of cave, और इसी में लिखा हुआ है, Plato introduced the allegory of cave in his book Republic to make a distinction between appearance and reality. Significance, the cave represents the world we see and experience and our sense mistaking appearance to be reality, while the world of sunlight is the realm of forms or realm of ideas. So we have given a photo also for the allegory of caves. एक व्यक्ति जो यहाँ पर there is fire burning, this is the fire, और यहाँ पर एक जेल है, इसमें कुछ कैदी बैठे हुए हैं और यहाँ पर कुछ नर्तकियां यहाँ पर घोड़े वोड़े वगैरह लेके जा रही हैं, एक प्ले करके जा रही है। इन लोगों को लग रहा है कि दिस थिंग इज हैपनिंग इन रियलिटी, यही सत्य है कि इनके बीच में लड़ाई हो रही है, द एनिमल इज चेजिंग दिस पर्सन एक्सेट्रा। These people are thinking that this is what reality is, but when one of the prisoner escapes, he finds that this is not the reality. He finds that there is the idea of there is the realm of forms or realm of ideas which is the ultimate reality. जब उनको एक्चुअल में सनलाइट दिखता है तो उनको समझ आता है कि सच्चाई क्या है, हम लोग इसी दुनिया में फंसे हुए हैं, what you are taught and what UPSC asks. Okay, this is spun by the IAS Akademia desktop operator, I think. So he didn't mean for our institute. This is part of a brochure that we published, that what you are taught otherwise and what UPSC is asking, and therefore we want to bridge this cave or bridge this, we want to free you. That was the idea. Okay, so therefore allegory of cave is there. This is the criticism. Plato himself was aware of the difficulties in his ideal theory, and he clearly states them in Parmenides, in a conversation between Parmenides and young Socrates. So he himself is raising some of the criticisms, but primarily Aristotle will be criticizing Plato, and finally there will be the last topic, that is theory of divided line. इससे this is Plato's basically epistemology or Plato's explanation of knowledge. तो प्लेटो का मेटाफिजिक्स है थ्योरी ऑफ आइडियाज, प्लेटो का एपिस्टेमोलॉजी है थ्योरी ऑफ डिवाइडेड लाइंस। ये 10-8 पेज के नोट्स के बियॉन्ड कोई भी सवाल नहीं आएगा, एंड यू विल बी एबल टू राइट। ओके, सो दिस इज गोइंग टू बी अपलोडेड टुडे इटसेल्फ, जस्ट गो थ्रू इट। टुमारो we will be completing Plato and writing a question on it, at least 2 questions on Plato. So that is all from my side. Just go through these notes today. अगर आपको समझ आए तो अच्छी बात है, नहीं तो it will be absolutely clear when we do it tomorrow. Okay, so any doubt, please ask, otherwise we will conclude this session. Yes.
No, sir.
Okay.
These
So
notes are in portal.
this will be on what?
Are these notes on portal, sir?
हाँ, they are already uploaded on the portal.
Okay, sir.
अभी मैम से आपको ग्रुप में भी डलवा देते हैं, वहां से भी देख लीजिए, बट पोर्टल पे ऑलरेडी डल चुका है. ठीक, इस नोट्स को पढ़ के आइए. नहीं समझ आता है, नो प्रॉब्लम, वील डू इट कॉम्प्रिहेंसिवली फ्रॉम दी वर्ड गो. इसमें जो भी एक लाइन लिखी हुई है, बाय टुमारो नाइट ऑल द वर्ड्स यू विल बी हैविंग कंप्लीट आइडिया अबाउट. आप एक दो सवाल भी लिखने के लिए एक ही दिन में कॉम्पोनेंट हो जाएंगे, एंड यू विल बी राइटिंग दी PYQs. Okay, so that is all. Thank you for your time and patience.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.